But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I
yes.
just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
Yeah.
Dog here today for Tuesday, June 9th goes to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and all the other congressional Caucasian Democrats who decided that yesterday they were going to wear kente cloth and take a knee during a moment of silence for George Floyd.
It seems as though it's gone more and more mainstream. So, as someone who is an expert, do you think, and this is from my producer, do you think the Dems take advantage of the black vote?
So a number of people have said that all through history, whatever party black folks have concentrated their votes in, people have said that party is taking advantage of black people. So in the 19th century, surprisingly, many people probably know this, that when black people got the right to vote in 1848, 1870, there was the 15th Amendment was passed in 1870, which said that all men of age could vote. But there were many black people still voted in 1868. But when black people got the right to vote in the aftermath of the Civil War, the vast majority of black folks voted for the Republican Party. They voted for radical Republicans, the party that defeated slavery, defeated the Confederacy, which fought to preserve slavery. They voted for Ulysses S. Grant, who was of course, famous general who defeated the Confederacy, and Robert E. Lee, and he was a two-term president who did so much for black folks. They support the Freedmen's Bureau. They have the 13th Amendment that ended slavery, the 14th Amendment that gave birthright citizenship to black people, the 15th Amendment that gave people the right to vote. And white Southerners who were self-defined conservatives hated the idea that black people voted Republican and said that they were being manipulated by the Republicans, that they were being used as tools by the Republicans. So in the 19th century, they said exactly that. So when you jump up here to the 20th century, let's look at the facts on the ground here. When President Biden was leaving office, he appointed there were hundreds of federal judge appointments that he made. He appointed in one term more black federal judges than any president in the history of the United States of America. He appointed a black woman to the United States Supreme Court. He had a black woman as vice president, a heartbeat away from the presidency. In the history of the most powerful military apparatus in the history of the world, you had a black Secretary of Defense, you had a black Joint Chiefs of Staff. There was a military parade that had 4 people overlooking the most powerful military on earth. All of them were black, except for one dude, Biden, right? When you think about cabinet positions, ambassadorships, under President Biden, the black poverty rate went to the lowest rate it's ever been in the history of the United States, 18%. The black child poverty rate was cut in half. More money was given to each historically black colleges and universities than any point in the history of the United States. The black unemployment rate, the female black unemployment rate was the lowest it's been in the history of the United States. So by so many metrics, real metrics, the infant mortality rate for black children, the infant mortality rate was the lowest it's been for black people in the history of the United States. And I'll give another stat that's very meaningful. Then healthcare coverage, right? At this point, 90% of black people have healthcare, more than any point in the United States. So there are people who always argue that black people and it sort of assumes that black people are too dumb to make their own decisions, that somehow white people are so powerful and that they could dangle a little trinket and then black people run like a cat and play with it because they don't understand what they get out of this process, this transaction. But any way you look at it, now let's look at Trump. The Trump administration, of his first 100 appointments, he had one black person who was appointed. So he had a 1% black appointment, right? Trump has appointed no black people in any high-ranking positions. There was one black dude he appointed to the HUD position, which is a position that had been a quote unquote black position since President LBJ had the first black cabinet appointment. It was a HUD position. Ronald Reagan did the same thing, gave a black dude the HUD position. And it wasn't until you have Jimmy Carter who goes against that. We also have, anyway, I'll stop right there. But anyway, you look at the appointments and you look at the sort of the resources given to the black community, you cannot say that black people have not gotten anything under Democrats. One can say that the Democrats have not gone far enough, and that's fair. One can say that that both parties don't go far enough, and I think that's fair. But to somehow think that black people got nothing from one party or that parties are the same is to ignore all the facts in front of us. Oh, you're mute.
Excuse me. My battery went out, so I had to change it real quick. I'm just curious. Very well put, as I stated before I unmuted myself there. I'm curious, where can they go further in your eyes?
I think that too many Democrats are compromising and weak-kneed when it comes to a lot of issues that are important. I think that they have been very quick to compromise when they want a bill, when it comes to having Democrats controlling both houses in the White House and saying we want to have a public option health care. And Republicans are like, no. And keep in mind, the United States is the only industrialized country in the world without universal health care, right? And we're saying Americans would live longer, fewer of our children would die, and we would have better health outcomes if we had universal health care like every other industrialized country in the world. People will say, because they either are liars or they're ignorant, that our healthcare system is the best in the world and other people have to wait in line for 6 months, a year to get treated with a Band-Aid. None of that is true. Studies will show. And again, people are liars and cheats, so they will pander to people's ignorance and they'll say these things. But the fact on the ground is that let's look at the scientific measurement. Let's look at infant mortality rate. Let's look at life expectancy rate and compare the United States to France, to Britain, to Canada, to a series of industrialized countries and see that they all have better outcomes than the United States. And also they pay less. So in so many ways, the United States will benefit by pulling in healthcare costs and providing more healthcare to people. And when they had control, instead of just saying we're going to go it alone, they were like, Democrats like, well, we want to be bipartisan. Please, Republicans, let's get at least 8 of you guys. And they're like, no, we don't want any health care. And they're like, okay. We'll take away this much health care. We'll take away that amount. Please, will you join us now? And they keep whittling down and taking stuff away. I think that this is typical of what Democrats are sort of used to. Republicans don't care about bipartisanship. They will go it alone, as we see right now under Trump. They have the power to stop Trump. They have the power to stop Trump from all the sort of reckless policies that he's had, cutting agencies. Literally, this dude saw millions of Americans saw white men with badges who swore oath to protect their constituencies in Congress being beaten, being pummeled, eye gouged, sprayed with toxic chemicals, hit with fire extinguishers, stomped on the ground, people yelling, kill him. We saw that live. And those men were crying for their lives. And Trump said, we saw the men beating those cops. I'm going to let all those men out. All those people who beat those cops, I'm going to let them out. I'm gonna give all of them. I'm gonna give these guys not an amnesty, but I will let all these guys out. And so the thing for me, which is fascinating, is that there's a hostility to law and order as long as the chaos is in the interest of Trump and fascism. And Congress decides to do nothing about it, even as they were running. Josh Hawley and these cowards running from the mob, running from these barbarians who were at the gate. These dudes were running for their lives, hightailing out of there, right? Scared, probably pissing on themselves, right? And here they go to Trump, capitulating, spineless, weak cowards. They won't do anything when Trump is undermining law and order. And I think that when you look at the FBI, the young radical me, listen to Public Enemy in Paris, the rapper Paris from the Bay Area, the younger version of me would be surprised to see this, but the FBI and this director Wray said the greatest threat to national security is domestic terrorist organizations and these white nationalist organizations. What did Trump do? Fire, and he wants to cut the FBI in half, right? Like just fire people who are doing these investigations against the organizations that are in his pocket, right?
Yep.
And I think that what we see right now with Democrats, I would hope when I look at Newsom, who's imperfect as we all are, the governor of California. When I look at them saying we will fight fire with fire, and that if Texas is going to redistrict
Yeah.
its map
That was
to give
important.
Republicans an advantage, we will redistrict the map to give Democrats an equal footing. And the thing is that they didn't say we're going to take, since Texas said we're going to add five new Republican seats, California could have said we're going to have 7 new Democrat seats. They didn't do that, though. They said if they're going to do 5, we'll do 5. But it's better than what Democrats have been doing before. Like, when they go low, we're going to go high.
Yeah, the Michelle Obama quote.
We're going to turn the other cheek. If they want to cheat us, we'll just let them do it because it's not right to fight back. And all that kind of foolishness. So I hope that I'm looking forward to seeing more Democrats have some backbone. I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. I think that many people are incensed with the sort of compromising, cowardly ways of some of these Democrats. And I think that's where they could really go farther. And I'm optimistic that the spirit of the people will give some resistance in the midterm elections. But we'll see. It's gonna be a battle.
Yeah,
Sitting at home and waiting for the perfect party is exactly the wrong thing to do, though. I think that I'll just say this last little thing that in the 19th century there was a major abolitionist named William Lloyd Garrison. He was one of the most famous abolitionists. He was a white guy, and he told Frederick Douglass, as Frederick Douglass was just coming out, he escaped from slavery, and he just got down with the abolitionist movement. He said, Frederick Douglass, once you are allowed to vote, because there are all these laws preventing black people from voting, black men from voting, but say if you get a proper qualification to vote, don't vote. And he's like, well, shouldn't we be trying to vote to kind of express our political power? He said, no, the political parties are imperfect, and we're not going to participate in imperfect politics. And we believe in purity, and so these parties are tainted. And what it did, it was fundamentally strengthen these slave powers, as they were called at the time. And the Republican Party came around as an anti-slavery party. Frederick Douglass said, this guy Lincoln may be imperfect. He may not be the guy that I want, but he's a guy that makes these Confederates, well, they weren't Confederates, makes these slave powers lose sleep at night, and that's good enough for me. He's better than letting slave powers come in power. And of course, we see what happened. We got the Confederates were defeated, slavery ended, and it was an imperfect party that they were able to commit themselves to. And I think that waiting for the perfect party is exactly what our enemies want us to do, because you're not going to find it.
Right.
We need to be politically engaged, and we need to push the Democrats, I believe. We need to push Democrats to be more aggressive, push them to be more responsive to the needs of the people, and stop compromising with people who don't compromise with you at all.
Amen to that.
Sorry for that long thing, man. I apologize, Rick, for on a political. I know we were talking about hip hop, but I started talking about, William Lloyd Garrison.
No, I'm totally fine with it, and I know the audience is too. Unfortunately, we do have to leave it there, but I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate your insights, and please do check out Professor Agbar's work, because it is fantastic to take in, and it is always a good read. Professor, thank you so much. You are always welcome here.
Hey, thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate it. It's fantastic. Love being on your show.